Sometimes you need a game that you can play any place, anywhere, anytime, and abandon at a moment's notice. Games designed for waiting rooms, train journeys, and stolen minutes. Games that give you satisfaction in small doses, not endless commitment. Welcome to Perfectly Portable, where we celebrate the games that understand that real life doesn't always stop when you want it to. Today we're going to be looking at Mr. Driller 2 on the Game Boy Advanced. Mr. Driller 2 on the GBA is quite simply perfectly portable gaming distilled into its purest form. It's a game that understands the fundamental truth about handheld gaming. Sometimes you've got 30 seconds, sometimes you've got 30 minutes, and the game needs to work equally well for both. Let me paint you a picture of what Mr. Driller 2 actually is, because if you've never encountered this little gem, then you're in for a treat. Imagine Tetris had a baby with Dig Dug, and that baby grew up listening to the most gloriously bonkers late 90s Namco soundtrack that you've ever heard. You play as Susumi Hori, and yes, he's the son of Taisio from Dig Dug, because Namco absolutely loves their family connections. They're a little bit like the mafia in that respect. And your job is beautifully simple. You drill down through a well of coloured blocks, trying to reach the bottom without running out of air or getting crushed by falling debris. But here's where it gets clever. When 4 or more blocks of the same colour touch, they disappear. And when they disappear, everything above them falls down. And when things fall down, they might create new colour matches. And when that happens, you get these absolutely glorious chain reactions that clear massive chunks of the screen and make you feel like a tactical genius, even when you've basically just been drilling randomly and hoping for the best. The brilliance of Mr. Driller isn't in its complexity. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's actually in how it takes this incredibly simple concept and it makes every single second feel meaningful. You're constantly making micro decisions. Do I drill through this block and risk the ones above falling on me? Do I go left or right to set up a better chain reaction? Do I grab that air capsule now or save it for later? Each choice takes a split second to make, but the consequences ripple through the entire screen. And this is why it's so perfect for those stolen gaming moments. You don't need to remember complex control schemes or intricate storylines. The moment you pick it up, you're back in the zone. The controls are dead simple. It's the D-pad to move, the A button to drill, and that's it. There's no complicated combos, there's no inventory management, there's no skill trees, there's just you and some blocks and a really satisfying drilling sound. Mr. Driller 2 gives you several different ways to play, and each one caters to a different kind of portable gaming session. Mission Driller is your story mode, where you're trying to reach specific depths, 2,500 feet, 5,000 feet, or if you're feeling particularly brave, 100,000 feet. It's structured enough so that you feel like you're making progress, but each individual attempt is short enough that you can squeeze one in whilst your coffee's brewing. Then there's Endless Driller, which is exactly what it sounds like. You just keep drilling until you die. It's the perfect mode for those kind of longer waits, the kind where you're not sure if you've got 5 minutes or 50 minutes. The beauty is that every run feels different because the block patterns are randomized, so you're never just going through the motions, as it were. But my personal favourite for true portable gaming is Time Attack Driller. And here you've got unlimited air, but you're racing against the clock. It sounds a bit stressful, but actually it's fairly liberating because you can just drill with abandon. You know, there's no careful air management, there's no cautious planning. You just pure frantic block destroying action to get to the bottom as quickly as possible. It's like a sort of espresso in game form. Now, I have to address something that might put some people off, and that's the graphics. Even by 2005 standards, when this finally made it to Western shores, Mr. Driller 2 looked pretty basic. We're talking simple sprites, minimal effects, and backgrounds that change every 500 feet or so just to keep things from getting a little bit too monotonous. But here's the thing, and this is crucial for portable gaming. Clarity trumps complexity every single time. You can see exactly what's happening on that tiny GBA screen, even in bright sunlight or dim waiting room lighting. And if you're like me and you've got the 34xXSP, you get the same native resolution on a much bigger, brighter and more pixel-dense screen, but still the same form factor as the original. But even on the original hardware, every block is distinct, every colour is clear, and there's never any doubt about what you're looking at. The sound design deserves special mention because it's absolutely bonkers in the best possible way. The soundtrack is this wonderful, weird mix of sort of acid house and J-pop that has no business working as well as it does. It's the kind of music that gets stuck in your head for days, and you'll find yourself humming it at the most inopportune moments. What sets Mr. Driller apart from other puzzle games, though, is how it handles failure. When you mess up, and you are going to mess up frequently and constantly, it never feels unfair. You can always trace back exactly what went wrong. You drilled a block when you should have gone around it. You didn't move fast enough. You got greedy for a chain reaction and you ignored the falling debris. You let your air get too low because you were so focused on the points instead of survival. Every death is a learning experience, and because each game is relatively short, you're back in action within seconds. This creates a beautiful risk-reward loop that is perfect for portable gaming. You're constantly pushing your luck, trying to set up bigger chain reactions, attempting to squeeze just a little bit more progress out of your current run. But because the stakes are never too high, and we're talking, minutes of investment here, not hours, you're willing to take those risks. You'll go for the spectacular play instead of the safe one because why not? If it goes wrong, you're going to be back trying again before you even had time to get frustrated. The game also has this lovely way of making you feel clever again, even when you're not being particularly clever or strategic. Those chain reactions I mentioned, they are incredibly satisfying to pull off. They're also somewhat unpredictable. You might set up what you think is a simple, clear, it's something that's going to happen really easily, only to watch in delight as it cascades into this massive screen-clearing combo that you definitely didn't plan. It's like the game's rewarding you for happy accidents, which is exactly the kind of positive reinforcement that you want when you're gaming in short bursts. There's something to be said for games that know exactly what they are and then they don't try and be anything else. Mr. Driller isn't trying to tell you an epic story or revolutionise the medium. It's not trying to be the deepest puzzle game ever made, although maybe it is at 100,000 feet. It's not the most technically impressive showcase for the hardware. What you get here is a game that is trying to be the perfect 5-minute gaming experience, and it absolutely nails that brief. I've spent countless hours with this game over the years, and I am still not tired of it. There's something almost meditative about the rhythm of drilling and planning and reacting. It's engaging enough to pull you out of whatever you were worrying about at the time, but not so demanding that it adds to your stress levels. It's the game equivalent of a perfectly brewed cup of tea. It's simple, it's satisfying, it's exactly what you need when you need it. The portable gaming landscape has changed dramatically since the GBA era. We've got smartphones with games that are technically far more sophisticated and modern handhelds that can run console-quality experiences, but there is still something to be said for games like Mr. Driller that understand the fundamental appeal of portable gaming. Sometimes you don't want a console experience on the go. Sometimes you want something that was designed from the ground up to be played in short bursts, something that respects your time and your attention. Mr. Driller on the GBA represents a kind of design philosophy that I worry we're losing. It's a game that trusts you to find your own fun within its simple systems, rather than constantly directing your attention with notifications and achievements and daily challenges. It's confident enough in its core mechanics that it doesn't need to dress them up with unnecessary complexity or an artificial progression system. If you've never experienced Mr. Driller, I can't recommend it highly enough. Whether you track down an original GBA cartridge, which is incredibly expensive it seems, or you find it on one of the various digital storefronts it's appeared on over the years, or you explore it through other means, It's absolutely worth your time. It's a masterclass in portable game design, a perfect example of how to create something that is immediately accessible, but endlessly replayable. And if you have played it before, maybe it's time to revisit it. Fire up that old GBA or load up an emulator and remind yourself what portable gaming can be when it's done right. Sometimes the best games are the ones that don't try to change your life. They just try to make the next few minutes a little bit better. So there you have it, Mr. Driller 2 on the Game Boy Advance, the game that understands that sometimes the most perfect gaming experience comes in the smallest packages. A game that knows that 5 minutes of pure, concentrated fun is worth more than 5 hours of padding and filler. A game that proves that the best portable experiences aren't trying to replicate console gaming on the go. They're trying to be something uniquely suited to the way that we actually play when we're out in the world. Now, I'm going to be doing more of these perfectly portable games over time. So if you want to hear about more games, or if you've got any recommendations for them, then make sure that you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell and let me know in the comments. What's your go-to game for these stolen gaming moments? What's in your portable gaming arsenal for when you're in waiting rooms and you've got a train delay? Until then, keep drilling, keep gaming, and I'll see you next time.